Hey, what is up, Internet? Kyle here, Slapshot Toys, doing another Hot Toys action figure review. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker. Now, I'd be honest with you, I pre-ordered this last year from Sideshow Collectibles. This is the version of Luke Skywalker I've always wanted in 6-scale form. This is my favorite version of Luke Skywalker from the original trilogy. I just love the black suit. I love the green lightsaber. I just love the aesthetic of Luke from in this movie. And this was one figure I knew the second went up for order. I was going to pre-order it, and I did first day, and it's finally here. So I cannot wait to take a look at this figure. So let's not delay that any further. To the light box. And here's Luke out of the packaging, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed with this figure. I think the head sculpt's really good. I think there's a lot of cool accessories. I think there's a lot of really cool posability options. There are a few things I'm not crazy about with this figure, but I'll get to those in a second. First, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories that Luke does come with. First thing I want to take a look at is going to be the base. Now, this is the standard cradle stand that we get with most Hot Toys figures, but Hot Toys is actually giving us some pretty cool display options with this piece. So what we get here is the actual stand, and this just has the Death Star floor right here. Really nice plaque saying Star Wars Luke Skywalker, and here in the back you get these canisters. Now, one really cool thing is these canisters are actually removable. If you look underneath here, there's just two little ports right here, so if you just slide that down like so, you can actually pop these out, and it's just the standard stand, so you don't have to have these canisters present. What we are also given, though, are these two little kind of face plates to put the cradle through that actually kind of mimic the sand dunes and Jabba's palace. So these things actually are pretty high quality. You can kind of see this is a very texturized, almost like sandpaper type feel to it. They feel very nice and kind of heavy. A good thick cardstock, so they're not plastic. These are still paper, but it's a very nice thick heavy paper, so I don't feel like they're going to really break or anything like that. But this one's very texturized as well as you get the grading. And it's just a really cool option. So all you basically have to do is take the stand, pop the, see if I can do it without breaking it. So you just pop out the cradle, and then just pop that on there, and now you have the sand dunes. And it looks pretty good. You do have the gray. It would have been kind of nice if, I don't know, this was black all the way up to the top, so you didn't kind of have that contrasting gray. But overall, a really, really cool display option that Hot Toys has given us. So the next accessories we're going to take a look at are the hands and lightsaber options, and we are given quite a few of them with this figure. So we are given 2 open hands. We are given 1 open hand with the fingers fully extended. We're given 2 closed fists, 1 glove, 1 flesh tone. We're given a trigger finger. We're given the Jedi Force mind trick kind of motion hand. We are given a trigger finger with battle damage on the back of it. We're also given 2 ungloved hands that hold the lightsaber. And first, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this battle damage one, because this is one of the coolest hands that it comes with. And this thing is detailed beautifully. I mean, just look at all that damage, and look in there, the actual robotics of Luke's hand just looks phenomenal. I mean, it actually looks like there's kind of blood and guts coming out of there with just the really nice glossy paint that they put in. I love this black kind of charred effect all around the wound. I think that looks wonderful. The flesh tone looks really good. You see like all the knuckles and everything all sculpted out. Fingernails look really good. Inside of the hand looks really, really cool. And taking a closer look kind of at one of the more normal hands, this is the one with the fingers extended. Once again, just amazing flesh tone. You get all the little lines and wrinkles and everything in the palm, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. Same with the gloved hand. Not a whole lot going on here, but you do get some kind of little stitch work and just some little kind of details there throughout the palm and down the sides of the fingers, so that looks really good as well. We are also given a light-up arm with this figure as well. So this is actually the light-up arm. This just plugs into the bicep, and this works pretty well. The actual lighting looks very, very nice. It looks a lot brighter than my Kylo Ren hot toy that I have. And it's just the 3 watch batteries inside this little compartment here. It is a little bit cumbersome trying to actually get this in, so you just basically roll up Luke's sleeve and try to plug it in. It took me quite a bit of time to actually get it popped in, but once I did, it worked pretty well. There's not a whole lot of articulation. There's no real wrist articulation other than just a little bit of rotation here, but everything's sculpted out beautifully. I love the way the glove looks. It's sculpted gorgeously. This saber looks fantastic here. Everything from the little golds to the silvers. I mean, this thing just looks so freaking cool. And then you get the flesh tone with the elbow joint right there. And then you're also given just a normal saber that doesn't light up. And once again, this is just sculpted and painted beautifully. Love all the colors, love all the details. And then we are also given 2 blade effects. Now these work in both lightsabers, so you can have them light up. You're just given this kind of standard blade right here. Looks really good, really nice translucent green. Really like that neon green, and it just obviously just ports right there into the sabers. And once it does light up, this one lights up very, very nicely, and it looks really, really cool. And then we are also given this kind of motion effect here. And this one I actually expected to like a lot more than what I do. It looks cool. It's just the light in the light up arm isn't powerful enough to really give it a really bright green light to it. I wish that would have been a little bit better, but it looks really cool if you get it in the right pose. It definitely looks like a saber, you know, being thrust towards an opponent. So it's a cool idea. I just wish it lit up a little bit better, but this is definitely a cool display option to have. We're also given Luke's blaster. That's sculpted very, very nicely. I really like the texture they use there on the grip. Really nice gunmetal gray, got a little bit of brown on the grip. Sculpted absolutely beautifully. And we are also given these handcuffs. Now these, not a whole lot of detail going on, but the little detail is sculpted very nicely and very nice silver. And there is a little hinge there at the beginning, so they do rotate, so they fit on Luke's arms very, very nicely. We're also given a couple different costume changes here with this Luke figure. The first of which is the cloak that Luke wears in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. And this thing is actually really, really cool. It's a gorgeous, very soft, nice suede material. Feels fantastic. All the stitching and everything looks really, really good. Yeah, just not a whole lot going on. Just a nice brown felt cloak. One really cool option that they did give us is there is a bendy wire here up around the hood, so you can actually kind of bend this to form around Luke's face. That is really cool. The only issue that I have with this cloak is it is huge. So once you actually get this on Luke, it kind of just overtakes him, especially the hood. No matter kind of how I try to get the wires bent around, it just seemed way too big. So that is my first kind of gripe with this figure. I wish this was a little bit better to scale. I'm sure there'll be a lot of customs and stuff done that will look fantastic. But just know that this one, at least to me, and there'll be a picture at the end with Luke in it, it just looks a little bit big in my opinion. And the next option is the little vest here from Jabba's palace and the barge scenes. This is designed very, very well. It has a very, very cool texture. I love the little kind of light brown that they have throughout it. I think it looks wonderful. Some really good layering here on the fabric. All throughout it looks really, really good. Really simple just to put this on like a normal vest over the figure. So it's easy to change in and out. And then there's also this little belt right here. Same material. This goes around Luke's waist and just velcros there at the back and actually holds the vest in place. So this is a fantastic accessory if you're trying to recreate the barge scene. Now taking a closer look at Luke himself, this face sculpt I think is absolutely phenomenal. The eyes, nose, mouth all scream Mark Hamill. I mean, you take a look, you've got the moles, the skin texture, the skin kind of flesh tone that they use just looks wonderful. The only thing with mine is it does look like he's looking up just a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be all of them or just the eye paint job on mine. But I do kind of feel like I have to push head down just a little bit to kind of get him looking forward. But other than that, I mean, it looks wonderful. You got the chin, looks great. All the moles, it really looks like Mark Hamill. And then coming over here, you get the phenomenal hair sculpt. I think this is probably one of my favorite things. It's just how well they captured that kind of style and shape of Mark's hair from Return of the Jedi. I mean, just look at all that detail and all the strands. It just looks absolutely wonderful. Can't believe they got that much detail in the sculpting. I mean, there to the side just looks so much like Mark. It's really, really cool. Now coming down here to the actual suit, this is where I have a little bit of issues with this figure. So first up, I don't know why they decided to do this, but there's actually a kind of padding suit underneath this, like his normal suit. And it gives this appearance, I don't know how well it's coming through the camera, of he's very heavy. Like, you're not really fat, but definitely bigger than I think Mark Hamill was in Return of the Jedi. And it just looks odd, to be honest with you. It's not really bothering me, but it's just a weird choice. I've seen a lot of people online already complaining about this and modding and removing the suit completely. I may do something like that just because it does look a little bit weird. But yeah, so that is one thing. And like I said, I don't know how it's coming through the camera, but there definitely is a padded suit underneath here that just kind of, I don't know, just makes it look a little bit fat. Just kind of a fat suit in general. My other kind of gripe with this Death Star scene suit is I feel like this square patch is just a little bit too big. So yeah, it just looks a little bit out of proportion. But overall, I still absolutely love it. This is how I want to display this Luke, because I love that final Death Star scene. And then you actually can fold this down, and there's a magnet that's supposed to hold it. Unfortunately, it doesn't really lay flat. There is a magnet up here, and there's a magnet in here. I thought there was one supposed to be one right here to keep it flat. Unfortunately, it's not catching, so I'm kind of having to bend it a little bit like that, just kind of press it down to get it to lay somewhat flat. It looks pretty good. This is exactly how I'm going to have him posed, holding a lightsaber. So yeah, super excited with how this looks. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot going on with this suit. I mean, it's just a basic black suit. It's got a nice kind of velvety material. I don't know exactly what they used here, but it looks good. A lot of stitch work all throughout. The belt looks really cool. You get that nice leather texture. You do have a little holder here for the hilt of the lightsaber. That works really good, and that's just connected there by Velcro. That's the only other thing. There's a pouch right here. That's the only other thing. There's a lot of Velcro in this figure, so I feel like a lot of the fabric could catch. So be very mindful of that as you're changing out belts and things like that. There's just a lot of Velcro that holds it all together. But here you get the back side, just a lot of stitch work, not a whole lot going on. There's the gloved hand, the unlit up gloved hand. And then coming down to the boots, these look really nice, very nice kind of fake leather texture. You got some kind of weathering effect down here at the bottom. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. Just a really nice black suit, and on the bottom, just have your copyright information. And here's a closer look at the articulation of this figure. His head can rotate side to side. There is a little bit of a neck pivot right there. He can look up actually a fairly decent amount right there, and he can look down a fairly decent amount as well. And actually, I popped the head off. So you can look up about that far and down that far when the head's actually attached. As far as his arms, they do go about 90 degrees out to his body. He can go forward with his arms about that much before you start getting some major pull there in the fabric. And then as far as going back, he can go about that far before he starts getting some major pulling in the fabric as well. There is a cut here at the bicep. He is double jointed at his elbow, and that actually works very, very nicely. His hands do rotate, and they are hinged up and down, but unfortunately with the gloved fist, the glove actually goes over the joint, so you will not be able to move that up and down. As far as the actual diaphragm, there is a little bit of waist rotation, but it is one solid suit, so you're not going to get a whole lot of motion there. There is a fairly good ab crunch there at the abdomen, and he can go back a fairly decent amount as well. And there is a little bit of a pivot here at the abdomen. As far as the legs, he can do the splits about that far before the pants really start to pull. He can kick forward about that much, so not a bad range of motion there, and he can kick back a fairly decent amount as well. There is a cut up here at the thigh, so that does rotate. He is double jointed here at the knees, so you get some really good range of motion there. And then as far as the ankles, it does rotate. They are hinged up and down, and there is ankle pivot, and it all works wonderfully because the boots give a ton. And just a few quick scale comparisons. Here's the Hot Toys Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker next to the Hot Toys A New Hope Han Solo. And here he is next to the Hot Toys The Empire Strikes Back Hoth Leia. Here he is next to the Sideshow Collectibles C-3PO and R2-D2. And last but not least, here he is next to the Sideshow Collectibles Return of the Jedi Darth Vader. And I think these actually scale pretty well together. Vader may be just a tad bit too big. I don't know the exact dimensions of what Vader's supposed to be, so this could be a little bit out of scale, but overall I think this Luke goes well with almost all the Hot Toys and Sideshow figures I own. So that is going to do it for my review of the Hot Toys movie masterpiece, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker 1/6 scale figure. Like I said in my intro, this was the version of Luke Skywalker I was waiting for. Return of the Jedi is definitely my favorite look of Luke, and this was the figure that I knew as soon as they announced it I was going to order it, and I ordered it day one, and I am definitely not disappointed in this figure at all. There are some things, like I said during my review, I'm not crazy about. The fat suit being one, and then two being that flap not sitting really nice and flush against his chest. But other than that, there's really some amazing stuff with this figure. I think the face sculpt is amazing. I think the hair sculpt looks insanely good. The light up feature works really well. As you can see here, it's actually lit up, and even with all my lights in my light box, it's still kind of shining pretty bright. And there's just a ton of options. I love all the different costumes we're given. I do wish the Hot Toys would include the indoor one as well. There's a rumor it may be like an accessory pack. We'll see if they do that or not. Sideshow is including the indoor suit, the speeder bike suit, in their version of Luke, so that would have been nice to have, but unfortunately Hot Toys did not include that in this. If you are looking for a Return of the Jedi Luke, and you want just a phenomenal face sculpt with some awesome accessories, you cannot go wrong with this figure. Just keep in mind that there are some issues with this figure. So once again, that's going to do it for me this evening. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys are watching them. Please remember to go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and that's going to do it for me this evening. So I will catch you guys later. See ya.